Hey everybody, and welcome back. If you've attended the Unsolved Horrors, podcast, which I hopefully hope that you had, you will know that we started a new podcast, which is this right here, that is known as the Big Show, right? And instead of doing as the Unsolved Horrors, where we have a specific theory or conspiracy that we're going to go over, we're just going to come up with random bullshit and talk about it.
Whoa, what was that, Joe? I couldn't hear you over that incredible rock guitar from the intro that only you can hear on the video version.
But I'm going to fucking shoot you. Alright.
I worked hard on that.
You did. I'm proud of you. I'm not going to lie to you. That was good. I will not dismiss the credit that is due to you for that, because that was actually really solid.
I got the beats like a drunk stepdad.
Good. God fucking damn it. Any goddamn way. And today's thing is why I believe that Wisconsin is a weak state and why I believe that it's un-American. And that is why...
So it fucks me up. Go ahead.
And that is because why haven't they taken the peninsula yet?
So it fucks me up that I've gone into this completely blind. But what I know about Wisconsin is it's just in the Midwest. They're essentially Canadian and cheese.
That's pretty much it, yeah. And water parks. They got a fuck ton of water parks. Which is surprising because of how north they are.
Is the Green Bay Packers Wisconsin?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Everyone hates the Packers.
Yep. But
go ahead, why are they weak?
Because why haven't they taken the peninsula yet from Michigan? It's just right there.
Okay. So as much as I want to agree with you on that, why would they take the peninsula?
Well, because they're Americans, and that's what we do as Americans. We see a piece of land, it's like, oh, it's a little bit close to me. I'm gonna fucking take that shit.
See, I would tell you you're wrong, but there was a video I saw, it was 2 days ago. There's this video I saw 2 days ago where America had bought a bunch of islands off of the coast, obviously. And it's just a bunch of fuck off islands. But they bought all of these islands and they just let people go and cultivate those islands because the islands were covered in bird shit, and they would let them cultivate that island to use the bird shit as fertilizer. And I was like, so we just bought a whole bunch of shitty islands, realistically, and then we sold them to other countries. And the only ones we kept are, the ones that are right off the coast of Florida.
Wild. I was unaware of that. But
I'm surprised we haven't bought any from Canada yet. We haven't just been you know what? Fuck Canada, and just taken land.
I mean, that's what we've done with, fucking, Hawaii and Alaska.
So we do with Texas.
Texas, yeah. I mean, that's how we got fucking Alaska from the Russians. We're like, oh, it's a bit closer to us than you, so fuck you.
I think that's my favorite thing is we kind of use the well, my fence cuts off here and your fence cuts off there, so it's technically mine.
Yeah, exactly. 9/10. Look, the possession is 9/10 of the law. All right, the peninsula is right on the fucking Wisconsin border. There's a lake separating the peninsula from Michigan. Okay, so fuck them. All right, and it's not like Wisconsin doesn't have a military. Every state has a fucking National Guard. All right. Which is the governor's military, all right, which I guess is still federally funded, but still, goddammit, the governor can get a little too fucking big for his britches and be like, you know what, fuck those guys over there in Michigan, I'm gonna take that.
You know what, I fully agree.
And it's not
what? Fuck it.
And it's not like they can't fucking leave the union and not take it. I mean, we've had fucking 6 states already do that back in the fucking 1800s. We had a whole war about it. It's fine.
All right. I fully agree with you. Wisconsin should just take that from Michigan.
Yeah.
But I have a bigger issue that needs to be addressed.
Oh, no.
Why don't North Dakota, South Dakota, North Carolina, and South Carolina both form together to make one big Carolina and one big Dakota?
It's a fair statement.
Same thing it really with West Virginia. Why is there a West Virginia?
Yeah, there's no need.
There's already a Virginia.
Exactly. It doesn't fucking make sense. It's just be one.
Or New Hampshire.
What?
Where the fuck's Old Hampshire?
It's in England.
Well, fuck that. We don't live in England.
Well, that's why it's New England.
This is the U.S. of A.
That's why we have New York, New Hampshire, because it's New England.
No, fuck that. They're
like
all the
Hampshire
originals. They're going to be Hampshire and they're going to be York.
It was in Old England. No, Ryan, no.
Nope.
We've already had that fight.
We disbanded. We disbanded from them.
That's true, but we kept the new from the old.
We threw their shit. We threw their shit in the ocean.
We did. Fucking tea.
Listen, I think the Boston Tea Party is one of my favorite things about history because I didn't find out till I was in high school that they weren't throwing tea off of that fucking ship. It was like whiskey, sugar, and like important paperwork.
It was
for
all
my
of
entire
those
life,
things. It was still tea, but it was those things
also,
as well.
Yeah.
It was everything that they
like,
taxed.
I just think about how like from the time that you get in school up until like high school, they really just fucking treat you like an idiot. They're like, yeah, they only threw tea off because British stereotypes. And then you get in high school and they're like, what? You're fucking stupid. Why the fuck would they just throw tea off? They had so many other valuable things to throw in the water.
Yeah, it's like fucking storks bring in babies, but that's not true either. You know?
That's my favorite thing about like, I don't know, like, I live in a household with like my nieces and nephews, and I just think it's wild that like, you can tell a kid anything and they'll just fucking believe it.
Yeah, because you're an adult. They trust people who've lived there, you know? Like those people who are like, oh no, Wisconsin can't fucking take Michigan. But no, I don't think that's true.
Like, I don't know, man. It's really funny because like one of the kids here, he's terrified of Pennywise. And like a tactic that has been deployed to make him act good is I'll call Pennywise. Same thing with one of the girls, like, if you say, I'll call Santa. And it's like, did that work on me when I was younger? Was I dumb?
I think the best one that I've come across is, I don't know why, but my niece, who's like 11 now, mind you, used to be absolutely horrified of my father. So my sister would just like, I'll make you go to Grandpa's, and she would just bawl her fucking eyes out. And it's
because as a kid, authoritarian figures scare you because
not to mention my fucking father used to look like some homeless man that just drove around and helped people. So that didn't help.
He just had like a Jason Voorhees mask just chilling in the fucking rear view of the car.
So you guys need a pen, sandwich, anything? It's like, no, thank you. I'll pass on that.
I don't trust that.
I don't want your gas station tuna sandwich. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm trying to think of things that used to fucking scare me as a kid. The only thing that I can really think of is like obviously like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, which I believed in an unreasonably longer time.
That fucking shit. And I never believed in the Easter Bunny. Never believed in the Tooth Fairy.
I was like 7.
The Santa Claus, I stopped believing in Santa Claus when I was 4.
I stopped believing when I was 7 or 8, and I was told because I was being super rambunctious, and I guess my grandpa was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, I'm super excited for like the Easter Bunny. And he goes, it's not real, and I was like, well, Santa's real, right? And he was like, no. And I was like, fuck. And then after I like cried because I was upset, my childhood had just been ruined, I went to my mom. I'm like, is the Tooth Fairy real at least? And she was like, no. And I was like, what the fuck? I've been lied to my entire life. But then a feeling of like of comfort went over my body because I was like, when you really think about it, the fact that we just tell children, yeah, there's a fairy that will sneak into your house and take your teeth and she keeps them and gives you money for them, is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, a little bit. Same thing with a fat guy coming down, breaking into your house to give you gifts. That's wild. Like, why?
Well, it's based in like actual mythos, though.
Well,
like, there was a Saint Nicholas.
There was
that
a Saint
existed.
Nick, but I don't know, man. Like
the Easter Bunny is a little far fetched.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
But like for me,
I don't know why
man,
they're like Jesus resurrects.
Yeah.
Bunny eggs. And it's like, well, bunnies don't even lay eggs.
They don't even lay eggs. But yeah, I don't know, man. For me, when I started losing my teeth, my dad's like, "Give me, and I'll give you a quarter." I'm like, okay.
Dude, you know what the creepiest? Hold on, you know what the creepiest thing about it is? So, obviously, I found all that out, and I was like, my first question after I found out that the Tooth Fairy was a myth was, where are my teeth then? Because I was like, are you throwing them away or are you keeping them? Because one is creepier than the other. And the answer was the creepy one.
So they kept it?
Yeah. a pill thing.
Yeah, my dad did too. It was fucking odd. And then what was worse was when I asked him why. The response he gave me was, "If you ever piss me off, I can just make a voodoo doll." I'm like, "I don't like that. I don't like any of that."
Hey, that's better than what my mom said. My mom said, "Well, I just didn't know what to do with them," and I was like, "Throw them the fuck away."
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I was like, this thing gets knocked out of my fucking face, and you're like, "I'm gonna keep it."
But I'm like, keep it. Little pearls. Yes. No. What the fuck? But.
It was really creepy because, like, you see those teeth, like, I saw them, and it's like, they're super small because they're kid teeth, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like, those have been in there for some time.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was 7 or 8. I lost my first tooth at 5, and then they all came out like clockwork because, well, let me rephrase that. They all came out like clockwork because I had learned about the fact that there's a fairy that would come and give you money for teeth. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start eating bricks.
Yeah, I understand. But... yeah, for me, like, it was like, my dad always took my fucking teeth when they first started falling out. And then for Easter, my family always had, like, my older cousins and shit like that go out and hide, like, eggs in the yard for us and then bring the little kids and be like, "Oh, this is your sector, look for that." So I never believed in the Easter Bunny. And then I stopped believing in Santa Claus at 4 years old because I walked in on my parents wrapping presents. And my mother, being an individual who believes the children should have hope and faith when they're younger, was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And then my father, who's just like, "No, fuck you and your dreams," was like, "Santa Claus isn't real. Look me dead in my 4-year-old eyes." It was like, "He's not real." It was like, "Oh God, what to do?" So, that was it.
Is this why that one episode where we talked about elves and we talked about, like, Christmas, you were like, "Yeah, fuck that kid and his wonderment."
That's exactly why.
It was ruined for you, and you're like, "Yeah, fuck Christmas."
Yeah, exactly. I ruined it for my sister, too. She, like, fucking wrote a letter to Santa and gave it to me, and she's like, "Give that to Santa." I'm like, "Alright, cool." I took 2 steps to the left and gave it to my grandma. I'm like, "Here you go." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "That's it, dude."
I just imagine, I don't know why, but I just imagine the 4-year-old you find out, and you're like, oh, how can this, no, this can't be true. And then, like, as the days go on, you become more cynical. You start working at Walmart, and Christmas time comes around, and you hear the Christmas songs, and you go, "It's all fake. It's all a lie.
It's all a lie.
Deceit.
It's never fucking real. It was never real."
You just look at a kid. It's all fake. It's all phony.
I got into an argument when I was in, like, junior high. I got into an argument with a kid because he said he saw Rudolph and Santa's sleigh going overhead, and he's like, "Oh yeah, the red light was blinking." I'm like, "That's a plane, kid." And, like, one of the ladies, like, yelled at me. He's like, "Don't tell him that." And I'm like, "That's the truth, though." Confused.
I feel like if you're in junior high and you still believe, your parents are setting you up for
No, this
failure,
was like an elementary kid. Because
I thought you said junior high.
No, I was in
like,
junior high, but, like, so what happened was, like, when I was in junior high school, the bus would take us to the elementary school to drop us off to get picked up by another bus. And we were waiting, obviously, I don't know why, but, like, obviously, as I was waiting at the elementary school, there were elementary kids. So this small child was like, "Oh, I saw Rudolph." I'm like, "Oh, I bet you it was a plane."
You ever think about, like, okay, because, like, my high school did this too. They would combine the kids on, like, the buses and stuff like that. And I wonder how many children were just ruined by riding the bus. Because, like, you're riding with, like, okay, because, like, I don't know what it was. Early 2000s teenagers were, like, dog shit compared to, like, my generation, I feel. Like, whenever we saw kids, we wouldn't cuss. We were, like, chilled it out because it was, like, they're kids. They don't know any better. But, like, when I was, like, 8, I stopped riding the bus when I was, like, 6. But when I was, like, 6, there were, like, high school kids in the back screaming, cussing, yelling at each other. And I'm just like, this is bad for my fragile, 6-year-old psyche.
It's okay.
But, like, I don't know, man. Why do I think about that? It's crazy. I also think about how one time, this is an important thing in my life because it made me who I am today. And by made me who I am today, I mean it probably is the reason my left eye has astigmatism. So, I was in 3rd grade, and I don't know why the gym teacher when I was in 3rd grade thought this was a good idea, but he had us 3rd graders play dodgeball against the 6th graders, who were essentially fucking teenagers, and in 3rd grade you're like 9. So we're playing goddamn dodgeball, and I just take a fucking rubber dodgeball to the eye. And I will never forget this because I didn't stop throwing the fucking dodgeballs. I got hit in the goddamn eye, and then like 4 more came, and I'm like, it's done, I'm dead.
It's a fucking kid. Oh, that's funny.
I don't know what I had done, but it was injuries back to back.
Jeez.
I don't know how your school operated. You went to school.
Dude, I got fucking, when I was in like 4th grade, I got nailed in the fucking dome by the gym teacher.
Bruh, okay, so...
Like, and for whatever reason, my gym teacher was like that one really hella athletic guy that was like just fucking teamed up, and when he hit you with the ball, you just fucking hurt, right? Square in the fucking face, just blam, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, oh shit, you good? And I'm like, ah, and he's like, yeah, you're fine. I'm like, what? But yeah,
fucking, that reminds me. Okay, so like, whenever my last year in high school, we got a new gym teacher, and he still sucks dick in my opinion. I don't care what nobody says. Fuck that nigga. But we're sitting there, and I guess because me and Bree had completely different gym classes, so I guess because like Bree didn't like try in gym class, she was just kind of walking during one of their football days. The gym teacher took it upon himself to throw a football from one end of the field to the other end at her back. And I remember thinking to myself, that's fucked up to do. But then I was like, this is the same guy that whenever one of the girls that was in my class, her 18th birthday came around, he said, and I'm not making this up, he's like, oh hey, your birthday's today, right? You turn 18. And it's like, you can't say that. You are not allowed to say that.
That's just concerning. That's really just concerning. Or
being a fat kid though with gym class, I remember it sucked ass because being the fat one, they just kind of expect you to not try. But with me being a fat dude, they were like, I got like all like the like one of the gym teachers he would call me Rhino because like I'm built like a goddamn tanker truck. But I was like, this is not gonna help me in any way. I'm still fat, bud. I'm not gonna run faster because you're like, good job, Rhino. It's like, no, I'm still pretty overweight.
It's a fact.
Gym class was a terrible thing. I don't know why. Like, I understand why it's part of the curriculum, but gym class is a fucking terrible place.
One of my best times in gym class was right after a buddy of my partner in pickleball popped 3 Xanaxes, and we had a great time.
You went to school in the middle of a cornfield. I don't trust you.
No, that's a fact. That's a fucking fact. Because, like, right behind our freaking school was, like, they had a small soccer field and then cornfield. That was it.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
Fucking, it was kind of funny because, okay, so whenever I was in junior high, it's funny because we were playing badminton. It was super fun, honestly.
Right.
But, like...
I just need to say, we've gotten way off topic.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. I just want to bring up this story that is formidable in my teenage years.
Okay.
So, I had this one kid I was friends with, and we're playing badminton, and like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty solid at badminton, but it's not a flex. But we're sitting there playing badminton, and you know you call it out when the shuttlecock gets close to you. You call it out. You're like, I got it. Well, me and him called I got it at the same time, and I don't know why, but he was directly in front of me and he jumped, and I was just on the backswing already. So I swung it forward and I clocked him in the back of the head, and it almost seems like it was a murder attempt because the metal part's the only thing that hit him.
Oh no.
And yeah, I remember he fell to the ground and he cried, and I was like, I can't look like the hero in this situation. I just KO'd somebody.
No, that's
and I was like, I just look like a jag-off.
Oh shit, that's not good.
Alright, back to the subject at hand. Wisconsin doesn't take Michigan's peninsula,
but
and it makes them weak.
It does.
But by association, then why doesn't Illinois absorb Indiana and Ohio, since Indiana is smaller than Illinois?
There's absolutely nothing stopping them.
Indiana. There's got to be constitutional things, like you can't take land from other people.
I haven't read it. What amendment is that? Go ahead, tell me.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not.
That's what it means. It's constitutional. That's which amendment is it? It's not there. It doesn't fucking matter then.
I don't like the fact that like you're technically right.
Yeah, that's how we took that's how we took Hawaii. Like I said, man, like late 1800s, early 1900s, we found the island of Hawaii. They were living their best lives. We were like, yeah, we got some cane sugar. You guys are pretty close, and you got some. We want it. And they were like, nah. And we're like, yeah, we got guns. And we took it.
I'm sorry. You guys got some cane sugar. That's the only valuable thing they got. It's like, yeah, we like your cane sugar. We're going to go ahead and take
your
that.
Sugar cane. It's like, yeah, we want that.
It's like a shitty fucking Minecraft server.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you guys got sugar cane. Yeah, what's the value to you? We like soda pop. Give me your shit.
You guys got sugar cane. We're going to go ahead and take that. And then your beautiful island will also be ours as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sorry about that,
like,
guys.
Even Alaska. Alaska is closer to us than to Russia, where it should usually, originally belong. So it's like, yeah, we're going to take that. We paid for it.
In my opinion,
but we're like,
we fucked up by... We fucked up by buying that goddamn Arctic land.
I found recently that the capital of Alaska, which is Juneau, I think it is.
It's Juneau.
I think it's either Juneau or Anchorage, but it has no roads that lead to it.
Anchorage.
The only way that you can isn't Anchorage. The only way that you can get there is by plane.
Mm-hmm. And it's really funny because I only know that because of that movie, the one about the aliens. Fuck. The Fourth Kind? Or it's something like
Fourth Kind.
It's an alien movie.
Huh.
Yeah. And like she lived in Alaska and she was like, well, I gotta go into Anchorage, blah blah blah, and it showed her on a plane and I was like, well, hold on now.
Yeah,
and then I found out you literally have to take a plane. And I was like, can you imagine to get to your state's capital, you gotta take a fucking plane because it's just a mass.
Well, no, Anchorage isn't the capital. It's just a big ass city.
Well, I mean, yeah,
but you know what I mean.
Fucking biggest city. Well, most states, their biggest city is their capital. Like here is Atlanta the capital of Georgia?
Yeah.
It is.
But that's not entirely true because Chicago is bigger than Springfield.
That's fact. Chicago is literally its own. It could be its own.
Yeah,
state.
Exactly. And in New York, I'm almost positive New York City is bigger than Albany.
Chicago's a goddamn nightmare because it's just funny to me because Chicago's like this metropolis.
Hell, you know what? Even fucking Chicago. Chicago is another prime example. All right, they took the other side of the fucking river. Why a fucking cow? Knock shit over, caught shit on fire. They're like, oh, well, your burnt shit's now our burnt shit. Go away.
It's really funny to me because, like, Chicago itself could say, fuck it, and just be its own place.
Yes, absolutely.
Because once you leave Chicago, it's nothing but cornfield.
Yeah, absolutely. It's completely different.
Crazy.
It's a completely goddamn different scenario.
And it's really funny because, like, people make that joke, but it's like, no, unironically, once you leave Chicago, Springfield has dogfuck of cornfields, Metropolis, fucking Westville, Danville, Georgetown.
Every other, like, fucking big city
Savoy.
In fucking, like, if you get out of, like, Chicagoland area, excuse me.
Yeah.
Every, like, even remotely larger city right outside's a cornfield or beanfield or some shit.
Yeah. Even, like, Joliet and, like, Peoria. Even.
Yeah.
Like, there's still cornfields.
Yeah, it's just right there, you know? It's fucking
ridiculous.
Nonsense. But
I haven't seen a cornfield since I moved, which is mind-blowing, because you grow up in an area where it's nothing but corn and bean fields, and you move somewhere and you're like, alright, where are the cornfields at? And they're like, oh, we don't have those here. And you're like, beg pardon? I thought every state had those.
Nope, it's just how it is.
Yeah, it's like with Florida. Florida just has sand and water.
Yeah.
And everyone's a crocodile.
Mm-hmm. Georgia's got fucking pine trees.
Yeah, pine trees and mountains, but mountains are kind of rad, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. But... yeah, what the fuck was I gonna say?
Well, okay, by your logic of, well, they're a stronger state, so like, okay,
well,
let's
I'm not
say
even saying they're a stronger state. I have no idea, but all I'm saying is they have a militia of their own. You know, both states have a National Guard, right?
Well, yeah.
There's nothing saying those two fucking states can't go to... The city-states in Greece used to fight all the time. Sparta and fucking Athens used to scrap it the fuck out constantly. Why is it different here? I'm confused. Oh, we're a big old union, so...
By your course of logic, then, I could logically say, okay, tomorrow if I were to go buy a shotgun and show up at your house, well, now your house belongs to me.
Well, I mean, if you want.
Well, no, I don't want that. You pay like $600 a month or some
It's
shit
only
like that for your
$580,
rent.
but I mean, you know, it's
That's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, hell, I'm not paying for it anymore. If you fucking bring a shotgun in here, that's you. That's a you problem. That's not mine anymore.
You're not fucking wrong. For what you have, though, it's fucking ridiculous. Oh, because you got a view of the river.
It's a lake,
Fuck
first of all. Second of all,
I
mean, that's what we did with the Native Americans. Like, fucking the whole Louisiana Purchase. They're like, oh, yeah, this is Native American land, but we bought it from somebody who didn't even fucking live there. And it was like, oh, yeah, here you go.
Bought it from French people.
Yeah, who didn't fucking live there.
It's wild. It's really funny because it's like... So, I don't know how the whole situation worked with the Louisiana Purchase, but I just think it's funny that we went to war with, like, Napoleon and all that, and we're like, we want that land, and he was like, okay. And, like, we paid for it and stuff. But what I think is fucking hilarious is, like, they just laid claim to that land. They just showed up there and they're like, okay, we're taking this.
Exactly. We've done. That's how this country was formed. So there's nothing stopping Wisconsin from doing it.
But it's so funny because the Americans that were there saw this fucking 5'4" French dude and they're like, hey, that's ours. And he was like, oh, no, thanks, it's mine actually. And just kept going about his business until someone was like, hey, we should fucking fight him.
Yeah.
He's taking our shit.
It's like, what the fuck? Hey, you can't take that. What was that fucking Princess Bride quote? It's like, you've stolen what I've rightfully taken. Or some shit like that. Like, what the fuck?
I've never seen the Princess
Bride. Nor have I,
but
I've seen the memes.
But what I do know is it's just funny. This French guy's just like, yeah, this is mine. And an American person was probably like, hey, bud, I've set up my home here. This is my little area. And he was like, oh, no. This is mine. Actually, he probably responded in French because he probably didn't speak any fucking English, and then they were at an impasse where the American guy was like, I don't know what you're saying, but I would prefer if you didn't take my stuff.
Well, actually, at that point in time,
we like fucking
our land stopped right before the Louisiana at the Mississippi where the Louisiana Purchase was at. Like, it was the Mississippi and over, right? So we only had made it to the to the Mississippi, and so he was like, oh yeah, after the Mississippi, it's mine. And we were like, let's cross the river, it's fine. And then eventually we were like, I don't want that. You know? It's like Robot Chicken with fucking funny. Germany. It's like, teacher, I went to the Polish boy's desk. You know, it's the same shit.
It's kind of funny, honestly, because it's like... American history, like I said before, it was just us just going somewhere and being like, hey man, that's really nice. And that person turning their back and admiring it, putting their fists on their hips like, yeah, it is really nice, and then turning around and we just have a gun and they're like, oh, what's going on, buddy? And we're just like, oh, it's ours now. Whoopsie daisy.
Be like, so you misunderstood. I said this is really nice.
I just imagine just Indian people minding their own goddamn business, just fucking chilling, and just some dude just shows up in a fucking like puffed out vest suit thing with a hat and shit, dressed all to a T, and they're like, how's it going, guy? And he's like, oh, not much, I'm just admiring the area. And people are just moving his stuff off of the boat and building him a house, and they're like, what are you doing over there? And he's like, oh, I'm just, setting up shop. This is a nice piece of land. I'm gonna take it. And they're just like, hey, I've lived here for a while. That's where my kids play. And he's just like, yeah, no, that's where I live now.
Yeah, it's like fucking. And I was talking to somebody about this earlier, right? And
about the Indians and their fucking terrible past with America.
Actually, yeah, because every time we something happens. Like, we'll forget what we're saying or something. She'll be like, unfortunate. And then I'll throw out something. Like, earlier, the first thing that because, she's always saying it, so I've come to the conclusion that I'm just going to throw out a horrific fucking thing in the history that's happened. So, earlier she was like, unfortunate. I'm like the Holocaust.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, or, the last time was, she was like, unfortunate. And I'm like the Trail of Tears.
God,
and we just...
You're a fucking...
Dude, yeah, because...
In fun at parties.
Look. But, So she's like, yeah, it's fucked up. Why couldn't they just buy it from, they're not going to buy land from people who didn't give a shit about money. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much the gist of it. They came in, they're like, we'll give you this money. And the Native Americans like, we don't give a fuck about that. And they're like, well, you
don't
see.
Want your papers? I think that's, one of my things that's, really crazy to think about is, Like, obviously, things are changing now, and where people are trying
that's what
to,
they could do. Oh my
make
god,
things right
holy
with
fuck.
the Native Americans.
I apologize to interrupt you, but that's what they could do.
I don't like where this
the
is going.
fucking governor from Wisconsin and Michigan can have a fucking duel over the peninsula, and whoever wins keeps it.
They're gonna duel like Andrew Jackson.
Absolutely. Pull out the flintlocks.
That's something we need to cover at some point.
Yeah,
it's just that man was
12 duels.
I thought there was more. That was just the recorded
As
number.
far as I'm aware, 12. Alright, it's like Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy Roosevelt is the most badass president we've ever had, and I'm willing to argue. Alright?
No,
this
fair.
man got shot, and then 40 minutes later, he made a speech. A 40-minute fucking speech where he mocked the fucking assassin for having wimpy fucking aim. And not the gall. For not having the gall to finish the job.
Andrew Jackson is probably one of my favorite ones with history because someone tried to assassinate him. They jumped out with 2 flintlock pistols, tried to shoot him. Both of the guns misfired, and instead of letting his security handle it, he turned toward this guy, looked at him, and then just went to bat with his cane.
Dude, yeah.
He just started beating the dog shit
those
out of this guy.
presidents,
Like,
if they were the governor
imagine?
of Wisconsin, they'd take the peninsula.
If they were the governor of Wisconsin, we wouldn't have places like, Wisconsin and Michigan. They would just belong to that person.
Exactly.
The whole Midwest is Andrew Jackson's.
They can make that whole peninsula a big-ass water park, because that's what Wisconsin Dells is anyway. It's just a big-ass water park.
Fucking
why is it that far? Why are so many
Jackson-
water parks that far south? Far north? I don't fucking understand Wisconsin. Answer me
water
this.
parks in the South make sense.
Yeah. When I went up there this fucking past weekend for my training and shit, there was so many fucking water parks. It was stupid. And the skiing lodge and shit, there was snow on the ground. I'm like, Wisconsin, get your shit together. You got fucking snow on the ground still. You got water parks all the way up north. You can't take a fucking peninsula. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what Wisconsin's done to you other than just their willingness to not take a peninsula and their odd amount of water parks. But if it makes you feel any better, I think, if I'm being completely honest, that Indiana should siege Illinois.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I mean, their gun laws are way less strict, but also, they got more money.
Yeah, the only fighting chance... Well, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like Illinois got a fair fighting chance, because regardless of gun laws or not, we have Chicago
If Chicago
and
tells
rednecks.
them to fuck off. If Chicago were to tell Illinois, "Nah, get fucked, we want to be our own place,"
they'd have
then
a better
it's just
chance.
the rednecks in the woods.
They would have a better chance,
Yeah.
that's for sure. But, yeah, they just have rednecks. Which, honestly, the rednecks would be okay with Indiana taking over, because it's a red state.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They'd be like, okay, yeah, come on.
Which is... It's really wild to think that, like, for the first time that I know of since, like, being a child, that Georgia was a blue state this year. That fucking blew my mind.
You know what really blows my mind?
Guns.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, fuck you, nerd. I beat you to the punch. Alright,
Beat me to the trigger. But anyway.
Fucking die. So, we fully come to the conclusion Wisconsin is a bitch state.
It is.
Illinois could definitely get taken over by Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
Chicago decided to become independent.
Which I feel it should, but you know, do you think?
Water parks in the north make no sense. And the Indians had just a terrible, terrible time.
It's true.
So, it'd be that way.
But
is there anything else you get
the only thing
this is a you-driven episode?
It's true. But no, the only thing that I have left is, as I was telling Ryan before we started, I'm going to try to, we collectively are going to try to do something like the Twilight Zone did at their end of the episodes and ask a one-off question, right, that we might not answer until the next episode.
I want to give my answer.
Or no, one-off.
I don't even know what the question is yet. So.
One-off question that we might answer in the next episode, or we'll leave to you guys to leave in the comments on what you think the answer is. So the only thing that I've got left is, why the fuck was Goldilocks in the bear's house anyway?
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
There's no reason.
I don't like what that implies.
Yeah, there's no fucking reason. It was just there. Like, it's rude. Breaking into people's house,
all right.
eating their fucking food and shit. Rude ass.
Well, what do you guys? Why do you think that she was in the household? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna be it.
That's all I got, man. All right.
All right.
Peace out.
Deuces.
Like, subscribe, tell your friends.